Attorney at law Martin George says he is optimistic that the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago and the Ministry of the People, Social Development and Family Services can find a workable compromise. His remarks come after Minister Vandana Mohit on Sunday called for the resignation of the Children's Authority Board. In an interview with TDT News on Tuesday, Mr. George expressed hope that both sides can move toward mutual understanding and resolution. He warned, however, that any lapse in leadership at the authority could disrupt the work of the family court.
It is that the Children's Authorities, without a board or without effective executive leadership, are not able to function properly, because the point is the family court makes referrals very often to the Children's Court, to the Children's Authority. The Children's Authority is usually involved in several matters before the court, even sometimes just as, seeking the interests and welfare of a child as a neutral third party. So, yes, of course, that would definitely impact on operations.
Mr. George said the authority should be afforded an opportunity to properly account for its actions.
Once they can demonstrate that they have acted reasonably, rationally, and creditably, then certainly this appears to be a scenario where we ought to give them the opportunity to be able to, explain their situation, justify their stewardship, and probably make their requests for, whatever additional resources or support they need in terms of the discharge of their functions.
On Sunday, Minister of the People, Social Development and Family Services, Vandana Mohit, called on the board of the Children's Authority to resign. She cited millions of dollars in outstanding payments, including staff benefits, statutory deductions, and payments owed to suppliers. In other news, the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation is warning that electric scooters and motorcycles being used on the nation's roads must be properly registered and ridden by licensed drivers. The ministry says many riders are operating these vehicles without registration or the required driving permits. Because they are mechanically propelled, electric scooters and motorcycles are legally classified as motor vehicles under the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act. Officials remind the public that it is an offense to use or allow the use of an unregistered motor vehicle, and it is also illegal to drive without a valid permit for that class of vehicle. Anyone in breach of the law can face enforcement action. The ministry is urging road users across Trinidad and Tobago to follow the regulations to protect public safety and ensure responsible use of the road network. It also notes that the licensing authority can refuse vehicle registration on safety grounds. Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs and Member of Parliament for Lohoketa Talparo, Philip Watts, was on the move on Tuesday as he joined local government and utility officials for a series of site assessments across Caparo and Mamaral. Minister Philip Watts spearheaded a marathon of site visits aimed at accelerating community development and addressing local grievances. The day began at the Caparo Recreation Ground. He toured the facility alongside Chairman of the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, Ryan Rampersad, and Councillor John Lazama. Together, they evaluated the current infrastructure and mapped out potential upgrades intended to transform the grounds into a modern hub for the community. The delegation then traveled to Lee Cam Road in Mamaral, where the focus shifted to essential services. MP Watts coordinated a meeting between residents and a high-level team from WASA, including the head of the Central Region and district engineers. Officials listened to residents' concerns firsthand and conducted technical assessments to streamline upcoming repairs to the area's water infrastructure. In some sport news now, the Confederation of African Football has ruled that the winners of the Africa Cup of Nations 2025 are no longer Senegal, but Morocco, following a decision by its appeals board. The saga began when Morocco was awarded a penalty in the 2025 AFCON final, which was subsequently missed by Brahim Diaz. But before that, several Senegal players refused to continue the match and even left the playing field. Minutes later, the players returned to the pitch led by Sadio Mane, and Senegal initially went on to win the match. However, after the appeal process, CAF reviewed the situation and issued a final ruling. The spokesperson for CAF said the appeal board decided that the Senegal national team is declared to have forfeited the final. And now on to some weather. We have mostly fair and hazy and windy conditions despite a few brisk isolated showers. Winds can gust at times, especially near showers. There's a mild or moderate concentration of Saharan dust present in the atmosphere. Sensitive persons should take the necessary precautions. Seas are rough with waves 3 meters in open waters and up to 2 meters and choppy in sheltered areas. And that's what's making the news this morning. But joining us right now is the host of Trinidad and Tobago Today, Virmala Balkaran. Good morning, Virmala.
Good morning, Carrie. How are you today? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week. We're getting there. Well, it's a short work week, actually.
Yeah, just one more day to go, and then we'll be free.
Free.
Yeah, well, Carrie, yesterday the world celebrated World Social Work Day.
Yes, we did, yeah.
So we're celebrating all the amazing work that our social workers do every single day, the importance of that work. And, we thank them for everything that they've done.
Yeah, we thank them, because oftentimes the type of work they do is yeoman service, right? Yeah. And they are oftentimes not compensated very well for those types of jobs. Oftentimes they even go out of pocket to ensure that the people that they help have what they need.
Yeah, definitely crucial work. And speaking of crucial, it is also today Global Recycling Day. So you know what that means?
Yeah. Yes.
We need to be a little better with recycling and ensuring that we, just do better for the environment.
Yeah, that's right. And we actually have a special day as well. Carlos, who's one of our directors here. Today's his birthday.
Yes, happy birthday,
Happy International Carlos Day.
That is right. It is International Carlos Day. Everybody please chime in and saying happy birthday, Carlos.
Right? But no singing right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't do people that this early morning.
No. Well, Carrie, when we come back, another packed show for you. Lots of topical issues, and you don't want to miss it.
Definitely don't want to.
All right, we'll talk soon.
We will. Looking forward to it, Virmala. Thank you.
All right.
When we come back, the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show gets going after this break.
So CTA say that they're doing the ABC of parenting, so I say I have to get in that. You know, anything with the ABCs, I like to get in that. I started with A for accountability. So you just mash up thing from a side when you get vexed, and then you surprised when you get called into the school for your child doing the same thing. Recognize that as a parent, you are one of the biggest influencers on your child's life. You have to acknowledge that your actions and choices can impact your child's development and growth. Take time to account for any consequences your actions may have on your child, and always acknowledge that responsibility before saying or doing anything. Your actions speak louder than your words, but at the end of the day, do your best. Share if you found this useful, and like and follow CTA's profile for more parenting tips as we go through the ABCs of parenting.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other. And they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation. Right, and not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
The Mother Church of the Anglican Diocese suffered significant damage during the earthquake of 2018. Efforts are underway to raise funds to restore this national heritage site. You are invited to make your donations with monthly deposits at any branch of the First Citizens Bank Account number 2696950, Marval Road Branch, in the name of the Incorporated Trustees of the Anglican Holy Trinity Cathedral Restoration.
Wednesday, 18th March 2026. The time now, it is 6:09 a.m. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I'm Virmala Balkaran, and welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, let's take a look now at what's trending this morning. A social media page owner has been ordered to pay over $400,000 in damages and costs for defaming a primary school principal. Well, High Court Judge Devendra Ramprasad ruled that Antonio Ranjit Singh, operator of Trini Crime News TT, published false and damaging posts about Spring Village Hindu School principal Suzanne Ragunanan, attacking her professional integrity and character. Well, the court also issued a permanent injunction preventing further publication of the claims, which were found to have caused significant distress and reputational harm. Well, police also arrested a suspect in Chase Village following a tense rooftop standoff linked to the theft of copper. And the man climbed onto a building to evade officers, but eventually came down after negotiations, reportedly in exchange for food, well, doubles actually, and was taken into custody without any incident. Moving on now, the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation is warning that electric scooters and motorcycles must be registered and require a valid driving permit to be used legally. And these vehicles are classified as motor vehicles under the law. And using unregistered vehicles or riding without the proper permit is an offence and can lead to enforcement action. The ministry also emphasized that unsafe vehicles may be denied registration and urged all road users to follow regulations for safety. And well, Caribbean Airlines is also advising passengers traveling to the United States, including destinations like New York, Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale, to arrive at least 4 hours before departure. Well, the airline says longer processing times are due to ongoing operational demands at U.S. airports, and they're urging travelers to allow extra time for check-in and security. Coming up inside the show today, we speak to political scientist Dr. Shane Mohammed about recent political developments and the tone of national discourse. There's also road rage, conviction, de-escalation, and all the issues affecting us every single day. You know what to do. Grab your cup of coffee and settle in. Trinidad and Tobago Today has begun. Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Carnival Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CarminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Carmino Realty TT. Carmino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Every morning begins with a story, the headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you, conversations that spark new ideas, stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
Well, yesterday, former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley held a 2-hour media conference to address national issues. But much of the reaction has focused on his response to Prime Minister Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, particularly following her remarks in Parliament about the construction of Balize House. Well, on Friday, the Prime Minister alleged that the PNM had links to criminal financiers and suggested that the party's headquarters was constructed using proceeds tied to the drug trade, claims which have since then been rejected. And Dr. Rowley, in his response, maintained that the property was financed over a number of years through party fundraising efforts, including member contributions, raffles, and rental income. However, his reference to the Prime Minister, who recently made history with her participation at the Summit of the Americas, has raised serious questions about the tone of political engagement. And while the term that he used carries cultural context, it can also be viewed as derogatory in certain settings. Well, to break it down this morning, along with the former Prime Minister's broader response to government policy, we're joined now by political scientist Dr. Shane Mohammed, a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, with expertise in governance and leadership and experience across both the public sector and academia. Good morning, Dr. Mohammed.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? And let me just correct one thing before people have a cow. I'm not at the University of the West Indies. Haven't been since 2020. But I can see, I understand the possibility of the not the natural alignment. But we'll see how that goes in the future. It's quite an interesting 2 hours. I've said from the onset, every time the former Prime Minister, and I will not say former because there's only a need for one former, because one has to, actually accept that there was a former before that, after that, in order to give it the relevance that it needs. But 2 hours to have a rant yet again, and I see that rant having various levels of intention, but first intention is to continue to have some level of political relevance in our space and in our dialogue. I don't know if that is necessary at this point in time. I think when one has opted to go for voluntary retirement, there's an expectation that voluntary retirement means that they give those that come after them the opportunity to chart the way forward.
Yeah. So, during this message, some words were used, Dr. Mohammed, but it also isn't the first time that the Prime Minister has faced strong or controversial language in public debate. So I want to touch on that for a bit. In your view, how important is the respectful discourse in shaping the political environment, especially, we just celebrated International Women's Day, and there was just so much talk about respecting women and women in leadership and all of that, particularly when women hold the highest office?
Well, there's a struggle for women. Women across the world have all struggled in various cultures and traditions and belief systems in order to get to the top. And you can take the spectrum from Suriname, Bandaranaike, all the way to Golda Meir, to Margaret Thatcher, to Kamala Harris, you name it. The leaders, all leaders, female, in the political arena especially, but there are women in the private sector at various corporate levels have all faced a level of struggle against a patriarchy that has existed for decades. And we're at the pinnacle of that breaking down of the patriarchy, because Trinidad and Tobago is the only country in the world where all three female leaders, coming from the government, the opposition, and from head of state, are women. Trinidad and Tobago is the only country in the world for that. That holds that title and that record. And it's significant because, yes, as you say, we talk about respecting women, we talk about the achievement of women, we talk about their struggles in terms of, getting to the top, shattering the glass ceiling has not come without its struggles. And men have a duty and a responsibility to, yes, women are now putting themselves at equal levels of men, as men in various spheres. But we must also be respectful of the fact that the struggle and the achievement of women should be met with a certain level of decorum. And I will sum up the statement towards the Honorable Prime Minister is, one must first have a level of self-respect in order to give respect. And when you lack that level of self-respect and you are plagued by a level of consistent shortcomings, and one thinks of one is, I could say, impaired by an inferiority complex that none of us in the current and nobody in the future, when they write about this, will be able to fully explain where the source is. That's one. But I can't even deem it enthusiastic retaliation for a specific thing, because it was not a one-off. It was said 3 times with a clear intention to denigrate the Prime Minister. And there are ways in which, he did not even, in his defense of the statements made about Balize House, he did not present to the population a source of funds or a list of persons who may have contributed to the construction of the entity, but simply to say that it was done by a set of fundraising events over a period of time. But what was that period of time? The period of time is when the former Prime Minister was in office and his government was in office. And now I ask, how far or how close to completion is the building and the construction project that everyone is talking about? And if anybody in the People's National Movement feels passionately about the statement that was made by the former Prime Minister, then they have a responsibility not just to the country but to the membership and to themselves to defend it by saying, listen, these are the people who contributed and these are the events that were held, and this was the amount that we earned, and this is how we used it, and we are going to continue to use it. Chirrup as the case may be. But when the country sees that a massive building went up in construction over a 10-year period, one has to ask certain questions.
Yeah, they do have a responsibility to maintain public confidence. Dr. Mohammed, I want to go to another part of what the former Prime Minister said. Now, we spoke about Trinidad and Tobago's foreign policy direction and our traditional principle of non-alignment. Can you please explain that for viewers who may not understand that principle, non-alignment?
Well, non-alignment means simply that in the political science world and in the international political science world, that there is no direct alignment by taking a side that seems to be controversial, that can cause the country to be in a place where it separates itself from its other alliances and causes traditional and long-standing alliances to be broken. And therefore, and non-alliance means that we've not put ourselves in a position to have major fallouts against others. But the problem here is we live in a very volatile political scenario. I said this on another platform, I'll say it here. Changes can take place. We went to sleep last night with one status quo, and we get up this morning and we open our phones and the news is flashing another statement. So for example, this morning the new headline is that France has said they're not taking part in the war against Iran because they did not start it, did not participate, they did not facilitate, and therefore they want no part of it. They have their reasons why, and I guess the rest of Europe will have its reasons why, and they will, in the days to come, explain. That is going to cause international tensions, and it's going to be seen as a form of dissent that is going to cause major discussions to arise. The bottom line is, where we are located, the Prime Minister, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of who was in office, needed to make serious assessments as to what was in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago from a sociological, economic, political perspective. More focus so on the socio-economic aspect of that. And therefore, in 2024, when the new American president was elected, I was one of the first persons to say to both the then opposition and government that in the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, a foreign policy should be designed and foreign policy should be created in order to attract positive reviews and positive attention to Trinidad and Tobago that then benefits the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, quite frankly, with all due respect to the former Prime Minister, he's talking nonsense.
Yeah, but Dr. Mohammed, when we start politicizing our foreign policy positioning, then that becomes a problem, right?
No, because foreign policy is based on international politics and based on our relationships with the international world. We're not living in an incubus. While we're an island, we're not an island out in the ocean that does not rely on anyone else. And given our economic realities, given the state of industrialization in Trinidad and Tobago and the stagnation of production and manufacturing, given the fact that the world has grown post-COVID and Trinidad and Tobago seems stuck in a rut, means therefore that Trinidad and Tobago has to ensure that its foreign policies are aligned to its best interest and its maximum benefit. And if people are being fair and being honest with themselves, we are in need of an injection of foreign direct investment. We are in need of major nations with economic resilience and also robustness looking at us and saying, we can help, or we can assist, or we are interested in coming there to do work that would improve both relationships, but also improve what your vision is for your nation. And it doesn't apply to just the United National Congress government, but any government that sat in the chair needed to make very important and very critical decisions that would benefit the interests, not just of the economy, but that would have a trickle-down effect to Trinidad and Tobago. And as far as I'm concerned, there was no other choice to be made if there were other options to be made, because the word self-interest is a very important word in political science, and therefore it is exactly what is happening in the world today. Nations are seeking their self-interest, and Trinidad and Tobago need to also recognize its self-interest has to come first as well.
Yeah. Also, they're continuing to unpack what the former Prime Minister said. There were also some public claims regarding party events and invitations, and these were later refuted. From your perspective and your expertise, how do things like this affect party unity and even public perception, Dr. Mohammed?
The sad thing about it is that Dr. Rowley is behaving he's existing in male chauvinism, and he's not pleased that he did not get his way, which was 1 year ago today. He should have had Stuart Young as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago while he maintained his seat in the Parliament and expected that the government was going to carry through for an extended period of time, and that he would have been the person that would have been directing, not doing the work, but directing the intentions and actions of a Prime Minister, which would have been simply a puppet show. That is one. But then the inexperience, the inability of that Prime Minister to govern, to align ministers, to reshuffle a cabinet where he understood people's roles and their seniorities and their expertise. He didn't get it right, and that caused a lot of major upheavals within that administration that led to an election that came as early as April. On the flip side, Trinidad and the former Prime Minister did not realize that Trinidad and Tobago's citizenship and its PNM membership as well, in particular, had become frustrated by his utterances, his inactions, his inability to govern effectively, his lack of understanding and empathy in relation to giving to the people who work towards the PNM being in office. He segregated the society. He blacklisted intellects like myself and all of my colleagues. You could call the colleagues in political science, in international relations, in economics, in finance, in criminology, in behavioral sciences, across the board, within the University of the West Indies framework and all over. Anybody who did not agree or express a level of dissent was pushed aside and were given the title of persona non grata. And therefore, he created an incubus where it was his way or the highway. He created a system for 10 years where he ruled with a heavy hand that did not lead to a level of democracy and did not lead to a level of fairness and equity, not just among PNM members, but across the nation. And we saw him aligned to leadership that was more authoritarian. So he got accustomed to having his way and leading the country in a way that only he would have wanted. Even in his interaction with you all as media personnel, the way he spoke to you all, addressed you all, dismissed you all of it for 10 years catapulted into chaos, frustration, anger, and the society rejected that. Right? So the bottom line is that when we look at it, the former Prime Minister is angry that the PNM did not accept his suggestions, and he's not happy with the fact that he cannot accept the fact that they lost the election, and he's one of the main reasons why they lost the election. And Stuart Young is also another reason why the government lost the election. Their behaviors, their attitudes, their lack of everything that they were supposed to do. He has refused to give Penny Beckles and the opportunity to lead the opposition. The opposition continues to be fractured as its current leadership and its former leadership, and it is not giving them the opportunity to breathe and create a new opportunity for a new dynamic and a new way of doing things under this leadership. So you have he's attacking the Prime Minister as a woman on the one hand, he's attacking the opposition leader who is one of his colleagues and his own party on the other hand, and you have them defending things that the party matters that is causing even the party membership to be frustrated because they can't get a good footing to start to rebuild the process of aligning themselves for governance and government in the years to come. So we are going to continue, as long as he continues to have a space and a voice in Trinidad and Tobago's current political dynamics, there's going to be obstruction, there's going to be dissent, and people are going to not, and it is undermining the institution that is the PNM. So people have to make hard decisions. People in the PNM have to make hard decisions. They have to decide what their positions are. It is unfortunate that they had to put out releases to show that the gentleman was invited and he chose not to come. It was hand-delivered to his home, and he did not show up. And it then asks the question, what is really and truly his intention? And his intention is for relevance, is to undermine, and it is also to disrespect. And that is exactly what Mr. Manning told us to expect when they fell out, and we are now seeing it manifest itself.
Well, Dr. Mohammed,
so I don't think we should cry.
Regardless of all of that, and we saw that being a product of the 2-hour press conference, we still have a responsibility as former and current leaders. All our leaders have a responsibility to have responsible and respectful discourse and national discourse as well. Can we talk about that in times of any political tension? How important is it that we continue to maintain some sort of, be level-headed and respectful always, not just to women, but to, opposite sides as well? And it's also important for the public to understand that our leaders are respectful to each other.
Well, the thing about it is, what the country has to understand is that because we are a nation that was built on, certain practices, which includes political peacock, the nature for political peacock between the period of 2015 to 2025 descended into gutter. It descended into the former Prime Minister won his arguments by denigrating others and calling them names and shouting at them and dismissing them and making, and then the other side, which was then the opposition, had no choice but to respond accordingly. But then that created a hate between and a hate culture between one side of supporters against the other side of the supporters. We've moved into where it's Penny Beckles and Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar, Opposition Leader Penny Beckles. If the country would observe the relationship or the interactions between both women in the parliament, it will tell you that there's a level of respect. I mean, the Honourable Prime Minister said the other day when she was making some reference, she said to the opposition leader, we were colleagues and classmates in the law school, and therefore there's an understanding of practices in law and how it's created. That quiet dialogue, when the approach of the opposition leader, yes, I know her party wants her to be aggressive, but sometimes what you say and how you say is important because mutual respect has been there. And we, the people, must be able to also do our research, a little research, before we make statements. And when we react and retaliate, I think we need to return to a space where our research is not just grounded in passion, but it is less emotional. One can be passionate but factual and get their messages across. I think we also have to realize that when the lights in the parliament come off and the events come on, people talk, they interact, they laugh, they have a chuckle. And we saw it during Carnival with Minister of Culture's interaction with her colleagues in the Savannah, in Skinners Park. Politicians all get along at some point. They will not always agree. That's not the nature of the game, to always agree anyways. The Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, when she was acting Prime Minister, said it in the Parliament as well. She said, we don't agree, we don't always agree. And the government accepts that there's going to be dissenting opinions. And for there to not be dissenting opinions, that's not democracy. So if we were to truly understand what politics is and political science is, you'll understand that there's a time and a space in when people can dissent and have opposing opinions.
Yes.
But those opposing opinions could simply be rooted in passion and research that then allows for a different level of dialogue. And we could coexist, respect each other, sit next to, take the example out of the Tobago context, where people in Tobago, they get passionate about their political alliances, they vote, they participate, they have a conversation, they say everything that needs to be said. The one incident for the first time in a long time was that incident in Tobago during the THA elections just concluded, where there was that hitting aspect. But that startled everybody, including myself, because that's not their culture. Because they coexist in an environment where even family members oppose each other. But when it's all done, they go back to live respectful lives.
That's right, respect.
And I think Trinidad needs to understand that we can coexist. We don't have to always have to agree, but a little bit of research and respect will take us a long way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed, for weighing in on that and for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good day.
All right,
have a good day to everyone.
All right, have a good day. When we come back, the show continues. We talk about road rage and so much more. Are you guilty of that? We have to fix that. And if you want to contribute to the show, all you have to do is email us at tttoday@ttt.co.tt. Follow us for all the stories that you see here and more at TTT Live Online. If you have a story idea, a press release, or you want to collaborate with us, maybe advertise with us, well, we'd love to hear from you. Remember our email, that it's tttoday@ttt.co.tt. You can also collaborate with us through the airwaves, through Talk City 91.1 FM, Sweet 100.1 FM, and Next 99.1 FM. The time now is 6:39 on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. Good life, good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
Since 1962, one sound has been living in the heart of Trinidad and Tobago, the longest running radio station in the nation.
We're your holiday soundtrack, whether it's on your day off, long drives, or house lives. We are always sweet.
This is music with meaning, music with memories.
Music that feels like home.
And it's not just the songs, it's the voices you trust, personalities you've grown with.
Laughter that sounds familiar.
Sweet 100.1 FM, the rhythm of our identity.
This isn't just radio, it's tradition. It's memories. It's part of who we are.
Sweet 100.1 FM, the rhythm of our identity, part of your family.
Well, thank you for starting your morning with us on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Some news updates this morning in case you missed it. A Florida high school teacher has been sentenced to prison for supplying firearms to a Trinidad-based transnational crime ring. Well, authorities are saying that Shannon Nicole Samlal Singh illegally purchased guns in the United States, falsely claiming they were for personal use before handing them over to criminals who smuggled them into Trinidad. And this story was posted on the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement social media pages. And moving on, a post-mortem has found that Golconda mother Stacy Samaru died by drowning, with strangulation a contributing factor. Her body was discovered floating in Blenheim Bay, Tobago earlier this month with a rope around her neck. Police are continuing investigations. And also, the autopsy of 11-year-old Ariana Ramdial found that she died from complications from a severe infection leading to acute heart failure. And that's according to one of the daily newspapers. Also, we're hearing reports of a 28-year-old professional woman cricketer, and she was found stabbed to death at her home at Budram Trace, Granville, Cedrus. We'll continue chasing that story for you. Relatives discovered the horrifying scene inside on last evening, that is, and we will have more on the story as it develops. And also, Papa Ute, another update. He is walking and assisted by the sling on a walking pad. We have some footage from Dr. Kriyan Singh for you now. Take a look and I'll see you after the break.
Struggling with heart health or frequent migraines? Discover the simple steps to reclaim your energy and vitality.
We're diving into a topic that affects about 422 million people around the world: diabetes.
Tune into Wellness Unlocked, the series that delivers expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your health and well-being. Your health matters. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on TTT and take the first step toward better health.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
A special good morning to those of you streaming us live on our social media pages, on YouTube, leaving us comments. We always see them and we appreciate them as well. So we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can take us wherever you go. Also, you can follow us for all the stories that you see here and more on all our social media pages listed on the screen for you. Of course, at TTT Live Online and at TNT Today Show. If you have a story idea, a press release, maybe you want to collaborate or advertise with us, all you have to do is email us at tttoday@ttt.co.tt. And you know it, be part of the conversation that's shaping our nation. Of course, you can also collaborate with us on the airwaves through Talk City 91.1 FM, Sweet 100.1 FM, and Next 99.1 FM. Remember our email address once again, that's ttt.day@ttt.co.tt. When we come back, we talk about road rage and more on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Lennox Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Cherry-Leen Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
So I'll go right to on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice.
Since 1972, one sound has been living in the heart of Trinidad and Tobago, the longest running radio station in the nation.
We're your holiday soundtrack. Whether it's on your day off, long drives, or house limes, we are always sweet.
This is music with meaning, music with memories.
Music that feels like home.
And it's not just the songs, it's the voices you trust, personalities you've grown with.
Laughter that sounds familiar. This isn't just radio, it's tradition. It's memories. It's part of who we are.
Sweet 100.1 FM, the rhythm of our identity, part of your family.
Always 100, guide you on your way. Sweet 100.
Unleash your imagination with TTT's terrific Toon Time. Join us as we stop evil geniuses from taking over the world from Super Z. Or hop on board for a journey into outer space with Galaxy Kids. Be a part of our quest to save the forests alongside our robot pals from Bugs Bot Ignition. Or let's go exploring with Duda and Dada. Catch terrific Toon Time weekdays at 4:15 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. It's fun-filled adventure with terrific Toon Time right here on TTT.
Well, statistics have been showing that road rage and aggressive driving are rising in TNT, with several recent incidents involving aggressive driving escalating, as you may have seen on social media, into violent confrontations, including the use of weapons on major highways. And police are warning motorists not to retaliate during conflicts on the road and urging drivers to avoid engagement, create some distance, and report those incidents immediately. Authorities continue to stress safer driving habits and de-escalation to prevent further harm. And joining me this morning to unpack some of this is Dr. Virmala Balkaran, clinical psychologist and psychiatrist. Good morning, Dr. Balkaran.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us to weigh in on this issue that's affecting us. And, you know, increasingly, we keep seeing the numbers going up. And again, if you just look on social media, you'll see all of the videos. But tell us from a clinical or psychological perspective, what is the definition of road rage?
Road rage is really the exhibition of violence, aggressive behavior on the road where I drive in when you're encountering other individuals. So it's basically you're in a car, you're seeing something, and you end up exploding and having a sort of an impulse problem where you can't control yourself. And you may get on in such a manner where you put yourself at harm or other persons at harm.
Is this considered to be a mental health disorder or something behavioral?
Well, it's more behavioral. You see, the thing is, we are all persons who go through different feelings. So there's a psychologist, Paul Erkman. He said we go through happiness, anger, rage, disgust, surprise, etc. 6 things he gives. So rage is something that we will all have, and it's something natural. It's when we are not able to control it, when we are not able to rein it in, when it can now cause problems, then it's now a problem. So therefore, it's a natural response. But and socializing, a child is socializing, should learn to control it. However, what we found is that there are some persons who cannot control this behavior. They're impulsive. There are, however, certain psychiatric conditions where persons could actually have what we call an impulse control disorder, where they could very be explosive. You know, they are naturally from small. You could notice these individuals. So if you look at even a child growing up, the disposition of somebody, how they you look at that person, you can say that person is very short-tempered. So some people may be just short-tempered and they can't handle themselves. Other persons may have psychiatric disorder, like impulse control disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and those disorders could now make you end up being on the road, end up not being able to control your emotions.
Are there triggers for this?
Yeah. So there are triggers. So now the triggers you have is like you may have external triggers and internal triggers. So the external triggers, for instance, is let's say you are driving and you're caught up in this traffic jam. So you're basically trapped in that traffic jam, and it's you're frustrated because you want to go. So the triggers could be environmental factors, road conditions. Sometimes you go down in a pothole and that sets your mood in such a way that you're already in that sort of negative mind frame. Then you have the external figures where people cutting in and out, where you are rushing to work. So time management, again, you are rushing to work. So when you have these external factors, you find that this could cause problems. The internal factors too now would be your disposition before, or what we find, some persons, they get into a car, but you're not coming into a car just physically. You're bringing in emotions. You're bringing in what's happening at work, what's happening at home. And this is where we find sometimes, you know, that you are in a situation where you may come from a home where your wife, just before you leave and you jump in your car, you and your wife will have an argument, or even in work. Because we now see more death rate, about 35%, I think the figures show that there's death rate. So if you're in work and you have problems at work and now you jump in the car to go home, you are now coming in emotionally loaded and anything could trigger you. So those are trigger factors, external trigger factors. And internal factors too is if you, again, have a lot of stress factors. Like if you, for instance, you have problems, finances, relationship issues with your own health, all these are factors that would lay stress on you. So when you have that stress, you could explode easier. So there's the internal, there's the external factors that we find.
Dr. Dialsing, here's $1 million question now. So why does road rage seem to be increasing in Trinidad and Tobago at this time?
Well, the thing is, it is. Some persons say, well, we always have anger, but you remember it may increase because you have more cars on the road. So if you're going to have more cars on the road, you find that you'll get more personal interaction. Now, some persons say modern life does not also give us the chance to sit down and to basically, you have a stressful time, but you now should be able to sit down and relax and de-stress. So modern life, and you are there, you know, from work, home, you have to deal with dropping kids to school, etc. Those things could actually build up. So modern life by itself could also cause it. Now, some persons say that also it may be increasing because there was a study of Gallup is an organization that does worldwide studies, and they looked at rage on the whole from the last 10 years, and they found when they did studies globally, about 23% of persons say that they get angry daily. So more persons are getting angry daily, probably because of the psychosocial stressors, the lack of time to just relax and diffuse. And remember long ago, we had Sundays and Saturdays. Some people say, well, they take the weekend and they could relax. Now some people working right through. They have a lot of things. So therefore, it may be the fact that rage on the whole is increasing in the world, and it could be global environments, a dismal outlook, you're disappointed in leaders, all sorts of things to come. So once you have that rage increasing, it will tend to come out in different factors. It could come out in home domestic violence, death rage in the work, and also rage in the road.
Yeah, Dr. Dialsing, I want to continue this conversation with you after the news. There's so much to talk about and so many questions that I have for you in my mind. So I'd ask you to please stay with us just a few more minutes. We've got the news coming up, and then when we come back, we continue our conversation on road rage. Thank you so much, Dr. Dialsing. We'll talk to you soon again. Remember our social media channels. You can follow us at TTT Live Online for all the stories that you see here and more. For all the updates, that's TTT Live Online and TNT Today Show. You can also follow us on all the social media you see listed on the screen. Remember our email, tttoday@ttt.co.tt. Email us if you have an idea, a story, anything you want to share with us. Of course, if you're going to be rocking your socks for World Down Syndrome Day as well this coming weekend, send us those pictures so we can feature them next week. Again, tttoday@ttt.co.tt. Carrie is up next with the news. When we come back, road rage and Dr. Dialsing, we continue.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The Cipriani College of Labor and Cooperative Studies has teamed up with the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture in a new effort aimed at supporting farmers' organizations and cooperatives across Trinidad and Tobago. College Director Dr. Andre Vincent Henry says collaboration of this nature is vital to building a stronger agricultural sector. He emphasized that modern agri-food development depends heavily on cooperatives, small businesses, and innovation. Dr. Henry made the remarks while addressing participants at a forum titled Agricultural Cooperatives in a New Agri-Food System, held on Tuesday at the college's auditorium.
Strengthening the agri-food systems through cooperatives, small enterprises, and innovation is therefore essential. It is also entirely consistent with the cooperative model, which speaks to collective effort, shared benefit, and local control over resources and production.
He added that as the institution marks its 60th anniversary milestone, the focus is not just on its legacy, but on shaping its path forward.
That future must include stronger focus on economic resilience, community-based enterprise, and sustainable livelihoods. It must include deeper engagement with sectors such as agriculture and the agri-food economy. And it must include partnerships that allow us to connect knowledge, policy, and practice in ways that deliver real impact.
Discussions on strengthening the commercial value of Trinidad and Tobago's premier festival commenced this week as the Ministry of Culture and Community Development hosted the Blueprint of Carnival public consultation at the Queen's Park Savannah. Improving public safety, upgrading infrastructure, boosting marketing, and enhancing the visitor experience were among the priority areas identified. The ministry says Carnival must be treated not only as a cultural showcase, but as a serious economic driver, and the forum brought stakeholders together to better align tradition with global market opportunities. A key focus of the consultation was the steel pan and how the country's orange economy can transition into a more sustainable, data-driven industry that ensures creatives benefit financially from their global influence.
Sometimes, from where I sit, the government is accused of making policy without consultation. Today we are here to rectify that, while ensuring that our traditions remain at the heart of Carnival's continued evolution. Our focus moving forward is to ensure that Carnival continues to grow, not only as a festival, but also as a sustainable cultural industry, one that creates opportunities for artists. Our artists must earn. Entrepreneurs, young creatives, and communities across Trinidad and Tobago. Today's session focus on something we all love here, the business of our steel pan.
Line Minister Michelle Benjamin also underscored the global commercial success of Carnival-inspired festivals, noting that Trinidad and Tobago has not fully captured the economic value of the culture it created.
Around the world, festivals inspired by our culture generate enormous economic returns. Some claim more than what we do. Our responsibility now is to ensure that the country which created the music, other carnivals cannot happen without our music, without our mass, and our creative traditions. We inspired them, the world around. We must also benefit from what they do globally. Let us commit to build this product.
In a gesture of unity with the Muslim community, Michael Callan, Canada's High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, spent Monday evening observing Ramadan traditions with worshippers in South Trinidad. Representing a country known for having one of North America's largest Islamic populations, the High Commissioner joined congregants in the Barrackpore district for Maghrib prayers and the breaking of the fast.
Principles of solidarity and compassion and humanity. I think so. Across the world, we see that in place of those, there's increasing frictions and misunderstandings and intolerance, and so it's at times that like these, where during the month of Ramadan, where we're reminded of the importance of staying close together, of supporting each other, of respecting each other, and of loving one another.
The visit was hosted by Member of Parliament for Princestown, Dr. Aina Ali, who welcomed the Canadian diplomat to her constituency.
It was absolutely my honor to have High Commissioner of Carnival with us tonight. It's always a pleasure to welcome anyone to South Trinidad. You know, this is my home, this is where I grew up, and I'm more than delighted, and I thank the Masjid. This is Ashra Mosque #1 in Barracoa for hosting us here tonight.
And that's what's making the news this morning. However, we will now return to the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show after this break.
The games are coming! The games are coming! Don't miss the Southern Games at Skinner Park in San Fernando. Come out and support our top athletes and cyclists. On Saturday the 21st of March, athletics heats begin at 9:30 a.m. And on Sunday the 22nd of March, athletics and cycling from 1:30 p.m. Bring out the entire family. Admission is $60. Children under 14 you pay $20, and children under 5 you are free. Get tickets at Ateliers by the Park and Wadi's Hardware in Marabella. Attractive door prices to be won. For further information, you can call 368-5649 or 778-3274. The games are coming. The games are coming. Southern Games, it's on.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Many parents say, I get licks and I turn out fine, but did you really? Was that kind of discipline the most effective and helpful, or did it instill fear and intimidation instead? Discipline is important, but it must be used in a constructive way with your children for it to be effective. So instead of just punishing them, also take the time to teach them what is appropriate behavior, to help them learn what to do differently and to make better decisions. Try to be in control of your emotions before disciplining them. And discipline should be fair and consistent. And most importantly, it should be appropriate for your child's age. Remember, spare the rod, it won't spoil the child. At the end of the day, keep trying your best. You and your children deserve it. Share if you found this useful, and like and follow our profile for more parenting tips. The letter of the day is D for discipline.
TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Well, statistics continue to show that road rage is rising in Trinidad and Tobago. This morning we are joined by Dr. Virmala Singh to help us unpack some of that, help us understand why this is happening, and possibly how we can fix all of this. Good morning again, Dr. Diyal Singh.
Good morning again.
So my question is, does alcohol or even substance use play any role in road rage, especially in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, it does, because alcohol itself could have different effects on different persons. So some persons could drink and be quiet and sedated. Other persons could drink and they could now want to be the biggest version out. So you find some small little guys, they will suddenly without alcohol want to, go and quarrel and curse and get on. So it could cause what you call a disinhibition, where you may now lose it. You may say things that you don't normally say. You may be aggressive that you wouldn't normally be aggressive. So definitely alcohol has a part to play, and other drugs too. So while some people will say, Doc, if I take a pull of marijuana, it could calm me. But then remember, marijuana could make you, it could calm you, yes, but then it could actually make you get an accident where you be disoriented. So we don't recommend that. We recommend other techniques to calm yourself. Persons who take in things like ecstasy and amphetamines, they could be a little, they can be a little hyper. And being more hyper, you can actually act out in a way and say things and blurt out things and be more impulsive. So drugs and alcohol definitely is something that could affect it. And then also age too, because remember, what they found is the insurance companies realize that younger males may be more impulsive, may be more involved in getting into these fights. And that is why the insurance rates are high for the younger males. So you have that factor of drugs, younger males, probably their use of the alcohol and drugs, or even sometimes they have not grown up enough yet, because there are certain parts in their brain which could make you temper your aggression. So again, as you get older, it should, hopefully in those young persons, it should reach a way that they can calm themselves, or even if not, we teach them certain calming techniques.
Now, a great concern, Doctor, is that, we've been seeing violence, especially on these in these social media videos, where someone is very angry behind the wheel, they give somebody a bad drive, and then a whole thing ensues, and then it escalates into violence and, possibly some serious harm as well. Why do these minor incidents and these minor traffic incidents stemming from road rage lead to violence? And what's the link between that? I know it's road rage, but how do we get from road rage to violence?
Okay, well, all of us, if I'm driving and somebody cuts in front of me, and I will now be so scared with my life that I could almost lose control and crash, I will get angry, because it comes like this fool, this person out there did that. So anger response is natural in that case, right? But and what happens is when somebody cuts in front of you and you could lose control, and you driving careful, and that level of unfairness, that level of that person just suddenly come there, and you and your whole family could get into a crash. You will have a spurt of stress hormones. So adrenaline will go up, cortisol will go up. And when these goes up, it really will put anybody in a position of fight or flight state. So you have that. And this is good when you are in danger. But when you're in a car, and it's just a second or two, this bad drive, and he goes on his way. With that rage, and if you don't learn how to dissipate it, if you don't learn what to do, that can build up in you, and then you have to get out that anger. So sometimes a little incident, as I say, could be as a result of what stress hormones come, spurts up, and it's there, so you have to deal with it. So sometimes I have to teach my patients, when that happens, at the spur of the moment, you're going to get angry, but you have to now get certain techniques to calm yourself. Because if you don't get to do something, that level there will be, that adrenaline will be there, and you might say, let me rush behind that guy, let me teach him a lesson. And this is why sometimes we have to teach you techniques how to calm yourself in situations like that. So you have that fear factor coming in. You have the factor where you feel that I am insulted, I am disrespected. And you think that, they shouldn't do me this because I'm there obeying my laws, and just so you come in and you're disrespecting me. But and in those cases, those persons, we have to teach them that, you may have an unrealistic expectation. This is Trinidad and Tobago. This is people on the road. People may have a culture driving. So you have to realize that people do break the rules. But you now going to be affected with it and put in that anger. It's unhealthy for you. So if you see somebody bad drive you, you should now think that. And I tell my patients, expect 5 jerks every day. Okay. So when you're going on the way to work, on the way home, count 5. Oh, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. So I try to tell them, have that count. I try to tell them if something happens quickly, like somebody suddenly comes and your rage go up, have some things that you could do, that you could kind of calm yourself, like you delay a bit. So start to count. I tell them start to count, and then I give them something physically to do too. There's I tell them take a spray of lavender and spray it on their hands. So when they're doing that action, it takes their mind away from that jerk ahead, and it may give them a lavender, they say might kind of calm you in a way. So in a sense, you give persons things to do that you could delay you pause, away. And as you pause to do this, you are now giving distance to that guy to go ahead. So you wouldn't be following him. And then you detach. You have to say it's not worth it. Because you have to say that my family is more worth it. My whole idea of going in the car is to reach my destination, not to teach the other man how to drive. That 2-second interval, 3-second interval that you had with that guy, he will go on his way. But you could make it. You have that power to either curb your feelings or continue it to show him, look, I am the boss. I feel hurt. So sometimes the anger comes in, as I'm saying, because of the workload, the stress load, the anger comes in because of a natural response, but you have to learn to calm it. And again, the violence is something that we are seeing that have us worried, that we have to be concerned about the violence that occurs out there. So you have to learn to read the signals in the other guy. If he's glaring at you, if he's taking down his window, cursing you, if he is gesticulating at you, you don't make eye contact. You just go straight ahead and do the techniques I tell you. If he's now going to try to block you, you could simply slow down and let him go on his way. So you have to have techniques to learn that there are going to be fools. And I always say 5 fools per destination. You have to also realize that besides there being fools, you have to have self-calming techniques that you do. And the problem is the violence now in Trinidad. We have to come to the realization we are a violent culture. There are guns everywhere. So therefore, everyone has a gun. So you have to presume that. And you have to presume that, if you lose your temper, you could lose your life. So I have my patients sometimes sticking up a picture of their children or their loved one, or even destination. You want to go Paris, stick it up there. So when you see this fool on the side, your goal is to go Paris or go home to your kids. So you have to have little things like that to keep that person reining in from their mental state.
Thank you so much. That is definitely an amazing contribution. And thank you for teaching us what we can do if we feel we're about to lose control, and also how to de-escalate that situation. Just think about life outside of this situation. Thank you so much, Dr. Dayal Singh. The psychology behind road rage. We appreciate everything you had to share with us this morning, and we hope you join us again.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a great day. Understanding how road rage affects people, drivers, it can cause situations that obviously, are violent. We've been seeing an increase in all of these numbers, all those videos popping up all over. Please, this morning, remember everything that Dr. Dayal Singh said. If you feel yourself becoming angry on the road, if you encounter maybe an angry driver, well, you heard everything that you need to do. You can check out this interview and everything else via TTT Live online. Everything is posted there for you, and TNT Today show. When we come back, we talk all about women in Islam with our very own Sherilyn and Nasira.
Attention viewers in Trinidad and Tobago. The Truth of God now airs on the TTT network every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You won't want to miss the dynamic preaching of Pastor Jennings as he speaks from God's Holy Bible. The Truth of God, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the TTT network.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ram Subag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exodus Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's Caribbean Passport TV on TTT.
Hey, up for this exciting challenge and confident about your business? If you are, the 1020 feature is just what we do. It's where you give your customers 10 reasons in
20 seconds why they should shop by you. This fun-filled feature will be captured, packaged, and aired on television and promoted on social media simultaneously. Small, medium, and large businesses call or WhatsApp 764-3378 or 313-4215. Let's feature your business. 1020 with Junior K. It's affordable, effective, and fun.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true. His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
That everything in your life has been designed to happen by God.
That's true.
And therefore, even me being a representative, if God sent you there to do something, do it properly. So in terms of, and that drives my commitment, it's because being a representative is not an accolade. So in order to represent well, you must hear people, you must see them in their space, and you have to now tie that into policies that will have a positive impact on them. But you can be very academic. Policy can become very academic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important for policymakers to stay connected. And there is a challenge. There is a challenge because, and I see it, but I think because the UNC has been such a people-centered political party, many of us as MPs and even our councillors and even our political leader, as Prime Minister, she started in local government.
Yeah.
So there's this appreciation for people first, for the ground first.
Well, Islam teaches that men and women are spiritually equal before God, sharing the same religious duties like prayer, fasting, and charity. Women are granted rights to own property, manage finances, retain their maiden names, receive a marriage gift, pursue education, work, and even participate in commerce. Well, motherhood is highly honored in Islam, and women must consent to marriage with the right to seek divorce under certain conditions. The hijab is also viewed by many as a symbol of modesty and religious identity. Women also have a legal standing to represent themselves and testify. The interpretations may vary in some areas. And while Islamic teachings outline rights and responsibilities for women, some practices in certain Muslim-majority societies are influenced by cultural traditions, and scholars continue to discuss how specific verses from the Quran are interpreted and applied today. Well, joining me this morning to discuss all about Ramadan, Islam, women in media, and their respective shows throughout this holy month of Ramadan on TTT, we have our very own Sherilyn Lewis and Nasira Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How has Ramadan been so far for you? And it's not over yet.
No, I mean, we still probably have a day or two. If we see the moon tomorrow, then obviously tomorrow will be the last day. If not, Friday will conclude the month of Ramadan. But so far for me, I think it's been too quick, because Ramadan as a Muslim is the one month that you really look forward to all year. And I think as you get older, somehow Ramadan seems to fly past.
Yeah.
And the amount of, dedication that you would have with your prayer and spirituality seems to lessen and lessen every year because you then have to juggle. Some people may have families to deal with. For me, it's just my job. But, you know, it's still a little bit of a negotiation in terms of your time and stuff like that.
Shirley, you were here talking with us at the start of Ramadan, actually, and I know you were really looking forward to it. And a lot of people say coming to the end of Ramadan, they get very emotional that this period is about to be over. Is that something that you can relate to?
Oh, definitely. I would say Ramadan is very special for me because it gives me an opportunity to really engage with members of the community. I've always been one who's very philanthropic in my efforts, and I'm actually a member of the National Muslim Women's Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. And just having that bond and that sisterhood and engaging in voluntary acts of charity, Sadaqah, even with my show Women's Perspective in Islam on Talk City 91.1 FM, given that opportunity during this blessed month, every weekend to share beneficial reminders and have conversations as it relates to edifying the wider population as to what Ramadan means is a task that I hold very near and dear to me. But it is also emotional for me because it is the very first Ramadan without my mom. So obviously navigating that, not having that support. But yeah, I mean, with respect to all the emotions, it is bittersweet. And it is very near and dear for me. As Nazira rightfully said, just, you know, counting down the days, you start to be like, do I really want Ramadan to end?
Yeah.
So for many, they may see it as, oh my gosh, they're fasting from, you know, the break of dawn to sunset. But really and truly, we enjoy it.
And speaking of your show on Talk City, we started the show with a clip of your interview with Minister Amin. Can you just briefly tell us about that?
Well, that was a wonderful interview. I was so happy to have Minister Amin on the program. She's the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government. And we had a wonderful conversation. A lot of persons did not know her upbringing, her Islamic upbringing, right? Her father, a Muslim, her mother, a Muslim. And she was raised in a very Islamic household, right? And that laid the foundation for who she is as a person today. Similarly, as myself, Islam definitely guides a lot of what I do in terms of my interactions, whether it's in business, whether it is in matters of work, or just the way I socialize. But all in all, it was a very interesting interview, and I think she was very excited.
Well, Nasira, you also had Nights of Noor that were featured on the newscast as well. So how was that this month?
It was a little bit unexpected because I know that Charlene had a program on Tuesdays, Ramadan Reflections, and then we had a plan where, like, okay, we need to have something for the newscast. So I said, well, you know, there's a mosque literally 5 minutes from where I live. So I contacted the Imam and I said, let's look beyond just eating and drinking of what Ramadan is in terms of the acts of charity, your obligations as a Muslim during Ramadan, the importance of the last 10 nights in Ramadan, which are probably the most sacred out of the entire month, because it's within one of those 10 nights that the Quran was revealed, and Ramadan is known as the month of the Quran. So we give non-Muslims, I really get the stories towards non-Muslims understanding what Ramadan really is beyond just not eating and drinking.
Yeah, and Charlene, you also had Ramadan Reflections, which you launched right here.
Yes, of course.
So how did that go for you? I know filming was very enjoyable for you.
Yes, it was. And again, you know, I think there's a lot of misconception as it relates to Islam in a way. So it's very important that with every content and every episode of Women's Perspective or whatever I'm doing, it really seeks to promote harmony and understanding in society. A lot of persons have these misconceptions because they're lacking information. So I think it's a duty for myself and Nazira to really ensure we provide the proper, you know, information. So with Ramadan Reflections, we spoke about Ramadan as a training month, a month whereby one can prepare themselves. So not just after the month of Ramadan has ended and after Eid you revert to your old ways, but whatever you would have practiced and remain steadfast in that, it continues. And then we spoke about the youth and fasting. You know, we live in a culture where there's a lot of Gen Zs and they're always doom scrolling, they're distracted by TikTok. So we really want to temper that. Then we had a conversation as relates to the leniencies in fasting. A lot of persons do not know that women are given much mercy and grace during the month of Ramadan. And then in the last episode, which would have aired last evening, We spoke about Eid, but not just Eid as a feast, but the virtues of that in itself. So it was a very comprehensive discussion, and I think a lot of persons enjoyed that.
And you are both very powerful and well-known women in media and, of course, TTT. Nasira, what does it mean for you to, personally, to see yourself on television in a space where you can shape the narratives, not just about Islam, but also sport? You are in a very male-dominated field. We just observed International Women's Day, and we had so many discussions about powerful women, and you're both definitely one of those. How do you feel to know that you have this space and you occupy, or you just grab the attention of the people every single day? And you can actually contribute to national discourse and just people understanding not just about Islam, but also sport.
It's ironic because I'm a very private person, right? And actually being in the media kind of is taking me out of my shell a little bit. But knowing that I have a platform to empower women, and let me tell you something, women in sports in particular is like a pet love of mine, and I love to do any sort of promotion to get women to understand you have as much an equal right to play sports, enjoy sports, watch sports, be a journalist or be a sports anchor, right, as a woman, as a male does, right, and a man does. And for me, having this platform, I try to encourage, like, sometimes I might go to the supermarket or the mall or whatever it is, and people will be like, "You're the sports girl." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "It's so nice to see and so refreshing to see a woman." I'm like, "Yeah." And if you have nieces, you have daughters, you have cousins, and they want to get involved in it, tell them just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you can't achieve something like that. So
do you feel pressure to be a role model now?
I don't feel pressure because I think I live my life by a certain code that I know I don't deviate from that a lot. So for me, it's not something that I have to second guess what I do or something like that. So I hope that how I live my life and what I do, professionally and personally, that I can inspire others to do the same.
Charlene, you have really taken up a huge responsibility with your Talk City show, and again with Ramadan Reflections, but more so the show. And you have a great burden on your shoulders now, but also as a woman you've come up in media and you've really gone through it, and again a male-dominated industry, and now you've decided to fly the flag of Islam high on Talk City 91.1 FM and TTT. How do you feel about that bringing that representation to the airwaves and also featuring very powerful women on your show as well?
Well, I will say it's a marvelous feeling. I think, as I said, there is a misconception that Muslim women are oppressed. And I've said before right here when we spoke earlier in the month of Ramadan that people mistake the hijab and the modesty for timidity, right? And my show is really geared towards highlighting the positive and meaningful contributions of Muslim women in Trinidad and Tobago and even the Caribbean, right? And when we look back to the inception of Islam, the very first wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadija radiallahu anha, right? She was a very wealthy, powerful, affluent businesswoman. She was highly intelligent, right? And in all of Arabia, everyone desired her. Many people desired her, actually. And when she chose Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for marriage, it was because she saw certain attributes, right? Similarly, there were a lot of female companions back then who were very versed. When you look at Aisha radiallahu anha, she was very versed in tafsir of Quran, right? When you look at Asma, she was very versed in agriculture, soil tilling. So that representation was always there. And it's a very interesting point that the Minister Amin would have made, that there is a lot of differences that relate to culture and deen. Islam empowers women. The Holy Quran has an entire chapter dedicated to women called An-Nisa. I don't think there's another holy book that has a focus on Muslim women or women empowerment as in Islam. So for me, I see it as just falling into space and holding that space to edify persons within Trinidad and Tobago as to the empowerment of Muslim women. So when we see the oppression highlighted and the narratives created in cinema as it relates to Muslim women, that has nothing to do with Islam, that is culture.
Yeah, Nasira, how do you hope that the next generation of Muslim women will be seen in media, sport, leadership, politics, and all of that?
I think the digital age that we live in now is making it easier for women to be Muslim women and women who wear hijabs, because there are Muslim women in the media who probably don't wear the hijab, right? But those who are wearing the hijab, the digital media is making that more open, and it's almost like a soft launching of Muslim women in media. Because I have a really good friend that lives in Canada, and she is one of the top sports journalists in Canada. She wears hijab, right? And the thing is, I get messages, she tells me she gets messages, and the age that we live in, as I said, with the digital media is making that become a little bit more open, not just for Muslim women, but non-Muslim women are seeing Muslim women in hijab in sports media, and they're becoming inspired to say, okay, well, we thought that Muslim women were oppressed and they are forced to wear the hijab and stuff like that. And when we tell our stories, wearing hijab was my choice. This year will be, we're in 2026, I think it's 14 years since I've been wearing the hijab. It's not something that I've worn all my life. But when I chose to do it at that time, I felt I was ready to do it because hijab is a commitment. It comes with a responsibility, not just to yourself, but to the religion and to everybody else around you. And I think being able to use my platform, being able to use the digital media and show women that I'm not oppressed, and I guess it's the family that I come from as well, that you're, as a woman, as a Muslim woman, you have the freedom and the choice to choose what you want to do with your life. And when I got into sports, my dad was like, this is your choosing. You have my full support, my mother as well, you have my full support. And I think if you have a strong family system around you, sky's the limit for you.
Thank you so much, ladies, and we definitely are grateful for your profound contribution this morning, and we love seeing everything that you've produced for Ramadan, and I know that it's going to be a beautiful Eid for you as well. Our very own Charlene Lewis and Nasira Mohammed from TTT. Well, we take a break, and when we come back, the show continues on TNT Today.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success, because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
You ever feel like it's only when you're in the middle of doing something important that is when those children just be acting out and trying to get attention? Even though we know that our children are most important to us, unless we're explicit about it, they can feel like they aren't, and they look for ways to get our attention. So make sure that they know that they are an important part of the family. Don't be afraid to say it. There's really no easier way to let them know. Spend time with them in meaningful activities that you both enjoy. Schedule it if you have to, but honor the time that you set aside for these activities. When they're talking, show them that you're listening and encourage them to share their ideas and emotions. I know the old people say that children should be seen and not heard, but I'm sure that you will agree with me that the child who feels seen and heard feels important. At the end of the day, all you can do as a parent is your best. If you found this useful, please share and like and follow our profile for more parenting tips. The letter of the day is I for important.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month. Lights, drama, and powerful storytelling take center stage this weekend at Queen's Hall. A new local production titled The Last Flight is set to captivate audiences from March 20th to the 22nd. Now, the play follows 8 Trinidadians on a journey to Colombia, each hiding secrets. But when disaster strikes mid-air, their lives take an unexpected and emotional turn. Joining us this morning to tell us more are the creative mind behind the production, writer and director Nika Narayan, along with actress Crystal Martin. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
That is a very dramatic trailer.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking at it and I want to see that.
Yeah. And then you realize you created it.
Yeah.
So first things first, what inspired this? Did you have any
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it's not new. This is actually over 30 years old. So I'll tell you the story behind it. There was an actual crash, TWA 800. This was over 30 years ago. I worked at BWIA at the time. So I'm pretty aged.
Okay. You said it.
Right. I remember being on duty when the plane crashed. I was writing at the time, but on a really small scale. And we were at the airport and we were like, oh my God, 200 and something persons died in the crash, right? And the flight number was TWA 800. And I just started thinking, I was like, did they know when they boarded that flight that this was going to be their last flight? And so I started putting together a list of characters, people who may have been on that flight, why they were going. So I chose 8 different lifestyles, backgrounds, so that it would be relatable to just not one type of person in the audience. There's one old man who is a Colombian, but he lives in Trinidad. But they're all Trinis, yes. And they're all going to Colombia for different reasons. Some of them really mischievous. Some of them, this here is a gold digger. She'll tell you about her. She's a gold digger, right?
Crystal, we're going to hear about your character in our short.
So that was the inspiration for writing it, that actual crash. It ends, it's the last flight. So the plane does crash.
Oh my God.
But there's an after. So there is hope, even though
I don't want to say.
You can't sell it. Now the plot sounds really intense. What are some of the themes in this this play?
So there's comedy. I know Trinidadians love comedy. So in every scene, we highlight the 8 characters in the first half of the show. And so in every scene, there's, as much as we are getting into their backgrounds and trying to hit on particular issues that people face, there's comedy in every scene. There is drama. There's a scene where people cry. There's a scene where people are in awe of what, not in disbelief in what they're seeing. And so we try to have every genre. So you have comedy, you have action, you have drama, suspense. It's
mystery, everything.
Yeah.
Crystal, tell us about your character or your role in the play, if you can, disclose a little bit.
So my character's name is Maria Sanchez. She plays, your standard gold digger.
Oh my goodness.
What is even that?
She married Carlos Sanchez solely for his money.
Okay.
But
and I actually opened the show. So it opens up with Maria being all boisterous and flamboyant. But when you take a look into Maria's life, you realize that there's a reason why she's the way she is. She is, at the onset, she could be very, welcoming and everybody would like her, but then she also is very bitter, has experienced a lot of trauma, and so that is what is driving her very devious actions, for lack of a better word.
That we cannot disclose.
That we cannot disclose, but she goes south. Real.
But tell us about the production in order to bring that tension and emotion to the stage. We are talking about a plane crash, right?
Yes. And so that is one of the most spectacular scenes in the production. I remember the first time we were, practicing, and we were like, how could we make this dramatic, theatrical? And we have someone who does dance choreography on the team, and we put our heads together, and he was like, okay, we're going to make this spectacular. So in that scene, when the plane is crashing, there's fog, there's lights, there's music, and the music is very dramatic. And the passengers on the plane also do a routine. I don't want to give out too much, but it's very theatrical, is what I would say. And so people are there. I've had a couple times, correct me if I'm wrong, people ask us, everything we saw there was live?
Was real,
Was everything live?
Show.
Yeah.
So they wonder if there's, is everything... And we also use projection to add to it as well.
Wow. This sounds like a new age play.
Yeah. So we try to be, every year. We've been doing it with this team, Champion Media, for over 10 years.
10 years.
So it's not new, but every time we get on stage, we try to add to make it more dramatic, more relevant. Whatever's happening currently, we integrate it into the play.
Yeah.
So somebody would mention, especially in the comedic side of it.
Right.
We try to bring up certain
trend and stuff,
Yes.
And this is running for 3 days. So it's Friday, Saturday, and
Sunday. On Friday and Saturday, it's at 7:30, and Sunday, it's at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Tickets, you can get tickets at
All Kenny's
sports outlet. So that's Trin City, West Mall, Long Circular Mall, Shakan Street, Carlton Center, San Fernando, and Queens Hall, of course. Tickets for the Friday show, it's getting pretty low. So I would suggest, if people are thinking about coming Friday, that you get your tickets now. But Queens Hall might be the safest option, I think, at this point.
Tell us about the other actors in this.
Sure. So we have her husband, quite a character.
Yes. Oh, my.
He's about 80 years old.
Yeah.
So she went for somebody 3 times, but he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Oh, in the show.
A gazillionaire, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, in the play. Wow.
In the play. You meant in real. You mean not their characters?
It was her literal husband in the play.
Well, they're both single. So.
Oh my. Okay.
Why
So who are the other? Oh my goodness. Who are the actors in this play?
The characters or the actual actor?
The actual actors.
Oh, so we have David Wilson, who is playing her husband. We have Mark Ned, who is an outrageous prophet, man of the cloth. Very outrageous. Yeah, we have Kyle Joseph, who is a kingpin. He's and his hitman brother, Mr. Daniel Jennings, to name a few. Yeah, so it's eight of them that are main characters, but we have lots of extras. We have dance. There's dance as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when the dance pops up, people are shocked because it's a scene where you're thinking, you're not expecting dance. It's actually gangsters.
Yeah.
And so we have it's a big cast, and it's a lot of work preparing.
And how long have you been preparing for this?
January.
Yeah.
We've done it so many times, right?
Yeah.
So but for the past 2 years we haven't. So
we need a little
we started in January,
refresher.
and then we have one new main cast member, and so she needed a lot of. She's a flight attendant. She needed a lot of more practice. So yeah.
So after this weekend, can we expect maybe to see this happening again?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah.
I would think so, yes. But
right. Well, thank you, ladies. We look forward to this. You've actually convinced me that I would like to be a part of this. It sounds really interesting.
Yes, you want to be there. You have to be
there. The trailer is really good on its own, and then you both have sold this to us. So thank you so much. It's the last flight. It's taking place on March 20th, 21st, and 22nd this coming weekend at Queens Hall.
Yes.
Yeah, the last flight. So go check it out and let us know know what you think. The time now, 7:49 on Trinidad and Tobago today. Hope it's been a great morning for you. It's the middle of the week. Tomorrow is the final working day for this week. I hope you're excited about that. The show continues when we come back.
For me, it started off with you. This whole journey started off with me falling in love with you and getting married to you. And the kids are outside of that space. I love my kids. They are our pride and joy, but they are outside of that space. They cannot and will not interfere with our dynamic. And that's just my mindset. And it's not wrong when, you know, especially during the early years of your kids and your development as parents, you're going to spend focus, and you're going to probably focus a lot of your time, a lot of your attention, a lot of your finances, your resources on your children. That wouldn't change. But I'm always intentional about making you my number one focus. And that's just my point of view. And the reason why I say that is because when we were dating, all we had was each other. So,
and eventually the kids are going to go off.
And the kids are going to go off.
School, to college, they're going to become adults.
Even before college, they're going to become teenagers, and they're going to want to do their own thing. And then you're going to find your identity being kind of shifted, because for the previous 13 years, all you did was make sure that they had what they need. And you kind of forgot about yourself, forgot about the relationship. And now they're being independent, they have their own friends, they don't want to be smothered.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
You are dearer to me than all the stars. So many wish but never reach. 'Cause when I'm falling and all the world seems dark, you help me find my peace. Oshun mi ba fijani. Oshun mi ba Oshun mi ba fijani. Arubita yeah 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 yeah.
In today's fast-paced and often tense society, conflict has become an unavoidable part of daily life. While recognizing this, the Community Mediation Services Division under the Ministry of Culture and Community Development continues to play a critical role in promoting peaceful dialogue and understanding in Trinidad and Tobago. Joining me this morning, we have Mr. Fidel Sanatan, Executive Manager of the Community Mediation Services Division, about the importance of conflict resolution, especially in today's society, and an upcoming workshop as well. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Virmala.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thank you for having us here.
No problem. So, I mean, this is a conversation that we need to have, and it's one we continue to have in bits and pieces about everything happening in today's society. Why do you think that conflict feels more volatile today in Trinidad and Tobago?
You know, one of the things, so just some background, I'm a social worker and I'm also a mediator as well.
Also, yesterday we celebrated
Yes.
World Social Work Day.
Thank you.
So greetings on that.
All right. And what we found is that persons don't have the internal resources or internal capacities to deal with conflict in their daily lives, at home, in their communities, and in the workplace, which is why we created this National Empowerment Program, which is a series of workshops in conflict de-escalation, anger management, stress management, time management, effective communication, emotional intelligence, and leading through conflict as well. So it's 7 workshops that we offer annually. What we're advertising in partnership with the Pan American Development Foundation is a face-to-face workshop next week, Wednesday at SAPA.
Yeah. Well, Fidel, back to the topic of conflict. I just want to ask you, at which point does everyday conflict actually become dangerous? Earlier on, we had a discussion about road rage and how that turns to violence. How does conflict get to that place where it's just dangerous?
All right. What I would say to that is that what we found is that it's cumulative. And I could just go wider for 1 minute. So when it is that we look at violent crime in Trinidad and Tobago, there are crimes of where people hurt each other. There's crimes of compulsion, where people are mentally ill. They have auditory and visual hallucinations. There's a mental health intervention for that. There's crime for profit. Those are where criminal organizations are involved. The police and national intelligence organizations deals with that. Then there's crimes of passion, and that's where we intervene. Crimes of passion are so difficult because they're unpredictable, in that people are dealing with so much stress. It could be the day where you had an argument with your family, an argument with your spouse, your neighbor was blocking you, the dog poo on your yard, and then on your way to work, all right, you're late as well, and somebody hits your brand new car that you're eating ramen every night to pay for. All right, it was too much.
Yeah.
And they get a cumulative outburst from you.
That's right. It all builds up. So about this workshop, when is it happening? Who is it designed for? And how can people be a part of this, if possible?
All right. So the workshop is taking place at the Southern Academy of the Performing Arts, and it's being sponsored by the Pan American Development Foundation, which is a multinational NGO with funding from USAID. So the U.S. Embassy does have a role to play in this face-to-face intervention, and they are the ones who are dealing with registration. So I would encourage persons to go on to the Pan American Development Foundation Trinidad and Tobago's website and Facebook. You could call them, and there's a QR code with the flyer to scan as well, and register. If it is that persons aren't able to register for this face-to-face intervention, I encourage them to look out for the virtual version of it that the Ministry of Culture and Community Development is going to offer a bit later on this year as well.
Yeah.
All right.
And what kind of skills will we walk away with if we attend these workshops?
All right. So with conflict de-escalation, the key learning points that we have for persons is how to recognize conflict, how to recognize what your triggers are, and then we give tools and techniques as to how to de-escalate the situation. And what we encourage persons to do is don't just come to one workshop, come to all of them, because the idea is that the more internal capacity that you have, the better you will be at dealing with conflict in your life, and the better teacher you will be to your peers, your family, your children, etc.
Thank you so much, Fidel, for joining us this morning. And conflict de-escalation, that is definitely something that we probably should consider. There's so much happening in Trinidad and Tobago. So much anger and rage these days. You know, hopefully you're having a beautiful day. This is where we come to the end of Trinidad and Tobago today. Thanks so much to all our guests. Also, a very special happy birthday to our director, Carlos. It is International Carlos Day. So from all of us, happy birthday to you, Carlos. Join us again tomorrow where we do this all over again, 6 to 8 a.m. on TNT Today. Have a wonderful day, Trinidad and Tobago. Bye-bye.
Good morning. This is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The San Fernando North Community Library is set to close its doors permanently this weekend. The National Library and Information System Authority, NALIS, says the facility, currently located at the San Fernando North Community Center, will officially cease operations effective this Saturday, March 21st. According to NALIS, the closure is necessary to prepare the collection for a merger at a new, larger facility. That new location, situated at Harris Promenade, is expected to open soon to better serve the community's needs. In the meantime, patrons are encouraged to use other NALIS service points or access digital resources through the authority's website at nalis.gov.tt. In other news, police are searching for a person of interest in connection with the Tuesday morning killing of a 28-year-old woman. Officers identify the victim as Rashmi Deoajit. According to investigators, Deoajit's relatives discovered her body after climbing through a window of her home when she failed to answer repeated phone calls. She had been stabbed multiple times. While a motive has not yet been established, police confirm they are looking for a man described as an associate of the professional cricketer. As authorities stress safer driving habits and de-escalation in place of conflict on the road, Dr. Virmala Balkaran, a clinical psychologist, notes that road rage is a behavioral response. Speaking on the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show, he explained that road rage is a behavior influenced by several factors that people deal with on a daily basis.
The thing is, we are all persons who go through different feelings. So there's a psychologist, Paul Erkman. He said we go through happiness, anger, rage, disgust, surprise, etc. 6 things he gives. So rage is something that we will all have, and it's something natural. It's when we are not able to control it, when we are not able to rein it in, when it can now cause problems, then it's now a problem. So therefore, it's a natural response.
That there are internal and external triggers that lead people to react with rage and sometimes violence.
So now the triggers you have is like you may have external triggers and internal triggers. So the external triggers, for instance, is let's say you are driving and you're caught up in this traffic jam. So you're basically trapped in that traffic jam, and it's you're frustrated because you want to go. So the triggers could be an environmental factors, road conditions. Sometimes you go down in a pothole and that sets your mood in such a way that you're already in that sort of negative mind frame. Then you have the external figures where people cutting in and out, where you are rushing to work. So time management, again, you are rushing to work. So when you have these external factors, you find that this could cause problems.
In some sport now, from ball boys to regional competition, the Sangre Grande-based Duranta Football Youth Academy, led by head coach Devon Bob, is making its mark on the international stage, following back-to-back appearances at the Orlando City Invitational in 2025. The Foster Road-based club, whose players recently served as ball boys during the CONCACAF Under-17 World Cup qualifiers, hosted right here in Trinidad and Tobago, will next take their talents to Jamaica this April, competing in the Caribbean Youth Football Classic.
Again, I try to do development. That is what we work with. So, and with this tour especially, this trip is more about the kids and them that's at SCA. It's been a year and more. Some of them could hardly come training. And there's been studying to lessons studying. So this is why I decided we could give them a nice little break this year and let them have a nice trip. Plus we have we name and we roots in Jamaica already, so they're willing to welcome us.
In some weather now, mostly fair, hazy and breezy or windy conditions despite few brisk isolated showers. Winds can gust at times, especially near showers. A mild or moderate concentration of Saharan dust is present in the atmosphere. Sensitive persons should take the necessary precautions. Seas are rough, waves are 3 meters in open waters and up to 2 meters and choppy in sheltered areas. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. From the entire team here, have a great day.
This is TTT. Live for local.